how they live in luxury while our African people, them suffer us. How you strategize all your lies, it's our blood, sweat, and tears that built your empire. The system was designed for I and I to never rise, only bleed to fulfill your desires. I was born with both hands on my heart from Mama Africa.
The time for liberation, Mama Africa awaits a revolution. This is the time for meditation. Free up your mind from the lies and illusions. This is the time for liberation. Come make we stand up and start a revolution. In these are times of elevation, have you keep your head above all pollution. Revolution in the air, my people prepare. No more African children, not to shed no tear. Full time be aware, Babylon no sincere after all. Who are send the guns them out here? Spiritual warfare, they may rage on the people like they don't care. The world we live in is unfair, yet a victim mentality won't take us nowhere.
Blessed love, and give thanks for tuning in to the African Liberation Network. On this program, we have with us Honorable Ras Flako Tafari of the Nyabinghi Theocracy. Ras Flako is the Nyabinghi Ancient Secretary. He's the Secretary of the Pit for Nyabinghi House, the first Secretary of the Ethio-Africa Diaspora Millennium Council, which is now called the Rastafari Millennium Council, the former Secretary of the Ethiopia World Federation Local 32 in Montego Bay, Jamaica, the member of the Rastafari Global Secretariat, the owner and manager of Wisemind Publications, the owner of Flako High Power Sound System, the Vice President of Word Sound Power Collective based in Seattle, Washington, and he's the founder of the Rastafari Ancient Farm. So give thanks that we have Ras Flako with us. And Ras Flako, if you would, please describe the work that you perform as the owner of Wisemind Publications and how that work is beneficial to the Rastafari movement.
It was wise to record testimony of patients as a short I-lect of Records. So what spurred further documentation of Wisemind Publication was due to Rastam's graphic artist who had motivated me in my publication because Bongo Tony died and he said it was lamented that Bongo Tony died and there was no publications of the ancient testimonies. So for that, when I reflected myself, I read documented Bongo Tony and other ancients at the time. We started to do Bongo Tony book. Got the help from Jake Omiak from Smithsonian. He provided valuable information. I went to tour of the Smithsonian Institute, went to Jake's Omiak office. But the good thing about it, I had a partner, which was Robin I, my very, very good friend. It was a real partnership in Massachusetts where Robin I did I do the writing, Robin I did the layouts and graphics and so it was a very ground for me. So most of my publication was published out of Massachusetts. But however, Wisemind Publication is Elder's testimony. Elder's testimony, written testimony that I produce. I interview them and with my computer, and then I have a voice recorder that I do that. Then I transfer it into text. So it is undiluted testimony, authentic testimony, which is good because many ones who don't have the opportunity to see an Asian, many ones who don't have to come to Jamaica, will be privileged to read an Asian testimony. So we have Asian testimony like Isaac, Bongo Young Paul, Bongo Shepherd, Bongo Donny, Bongo Ken, those. But Wisemind Publication does not only have Asian testimony, Wisemind Publication of also society. Wisemind Publication is a reservoir of Rastafari documentation of ancient. But Wisemind Publication from the Rita conference from 83 where it was over 22 points of inspiration from, because I know they written 1983 22 points, and I talked with Bongo Tony, and he advised that most of the information there, the Asians are unable to manifest them. So if I have the ability and the know-how, I could choose any section from it and make it be a reality. So I chose publications. So the money from Wisemind Publication is in the pool of our World Song Power Collective, Ancient Fund. So it's basically a charitable production, you know. So Wisemind Publication is a charitable work, voluntary work, because Wisemind Publication is, the beauty about Wisemind Publication is that I have Rastafari globally who do proofreading, I have Rastafari globally who do the covers, and I do the writing for Wisemind Publication. So Wisemind Publication, basically, the summary of Rastafari testimony. Wisemind Publication have about 61 books, so which is good. You know, Wisemind Publication is really a treasure of Rastafari literary collections, I would say. Give thanks.
Yes, sir. Give thanks. And also, I forgot to mention that the I is the vice president of the Word Sound Power Collective. Could you also give a description of what the Word Sound Power Collective is, and what its impact is in the Rastafari movement, please?
Yes. Okay. Many ones within Nyabinghi and Rastafari have a thing of white people. They say that they cannot be Rastafari, but Nyabinghi or Rastafari is a black power movement, but the white is qualified. I am not of that opinion, because Word Sound Power Collective is multicultural, multi-ethnic. Word Sound Power Collective, based in Seattle, Washington, their objective is to fulfill the Nyabinghi creed. We say, let the age be protected, let it be fed, let the infants established to fulfill the Nyabinghi creed. Our Word Sound Power Collective is about the Rastafari Ancient Fund. I first was an advisor to Word Sound Power Collective. I'm in Word Sound Power Collective over 20 years. I started as an advisor. I know I was elevated to the vice president. So although I'm in Jamaica, I'm a vice president of Word Sound Power Collective legally. What Word Sound Power Collective does is to fulfill the ancient needs, more likely medical needs and health needs. So the site is there, the site is authentic when you arise when it comes to health or nutrition, things like those. The name of the agent is submitted to Sound Power Collective Board. A fund is launched internationally and money collected. The goal is $200. Sometimes it is more, because for Bob Roy, it was over $5,000 US. So Word Sound Power Collective also go in housing. So when the need arise, the information is placed on the internet, and the willing will contribute until the goal is reached. That fund is sent to me, or that fund is also sent to Ras Flako, who is also an advisor, but we are both in Jamaica. Word Sound Power Collective don't also contribute to Jamaican elders. They contribute to needs in Shashamani, they contribute to needs in England and otherwise. So Word Sound Power Collective is about fulfilling the Nyabinghi creed. And I applaud them for their work, and I do pray that other Rastafari House and Mansion will take a page from Word Sound Collective book and make that need be multiplied. So, it will be like a one voice when it comes to these needs. But, Sound Power Collective is a leader, then I would say, in fulfilling the rest of the need. And they are very authentic. And I'm very happy to be a vice president with this honorable institution.
Yes, I. So give thanks for those works that the Word Sound Power Collective is doing to take care of the ones in need. That's very much necessary and a real part of the Rastafari movement. Also, Ras Flako, could you just give us, for the listeners who may not be familiar with some of the intricacies of the Rastafari movement, could you just explain what is the Nyabinghi Theocracy? And, you're the I-lect of Records for said mansion. So could you just, explain what the Nyabinghi order is, the Nyabinghi Theocracy, and what is the role of the I as the I-lect of Records, please?
Rastafari. We could go as far back to Bongo Watto. Bongo Watto, from the Youth Black Faith, is one of the main ones who had structured the Nyabinghi order, wherein what you would call a table man, because when the youth black realized that, okay, they had look on how the Okopin and the Mayas people do their business, and it was of the opinion that from foundation you come to a tabernacle settings, and you'll have what we'll call a table man, which is a secretary. And that's where the administration come into place with the tabernacle and the table man and the chair that came out of you black people, wherein they had tried to adopt the principles that they saw in the revival and Pocomania and all those things. But the Nyabinghi now is more governed by the Nyabinghi guidelines, right? So I could read a section of it. The Nyabinghi order is the most ancient order of Rastafari. As from the earliest times, when the cherubims and cherubim chanted songs of praise around the rainbow, circle choked the almighty, omnipotent majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie. So we would say the essence of the rainbow circle throne. But within the Nyabinghi order, most people would say, the Nyabinghi is not organized, the Nyabinghi don't have an administration, the Nyabinghi is not structured. But when you are a Nyabinghi once, you more want to, you get closer. Even a man like me now, who get closer as a man of a student of Rastafari, same way. So the Nyabinghi would have the Nyabinghi Creed. Most likely, if you go to Nyabinghi, you'll hear the Nyabinghi Creed. Nyabinghi Creed is open with reciting or reading of the following Psalms. So within the Nyabinghi Creed, you'll have Psalms 122, Psalms 130, Psalms 121, Psalms 1 and Psalms 24. So within every Nyabinghi function, the format is the Nyabinghi Creed, but you have the Psalms that we read before the Nyabinghi Creed. So and then you see the anthem, the Ethiopian anthem. The Nyabinghi Creed is structured within as a Nyabinghi. There is the emphasis. There are regulations who chant the drums or significant of the part. There within there's a fire keep. There are laws governing the tabernacle. There are laws governing the altar. There are laws governing the ground. There are laws governing male and female. They are seen. So that within Nyabinghi, as a secretary, core member, with the groundation, there was no secretary. You just chant, and when you do chant, wherever you chant, you burn the tabernacle, or it was really a tabernacle basically. It's really a hut from thatch. Because now that we have tabernacles permanent, but early days it was that's what. But now that we have a tabernacle and we have a setting, and within the Nyabinghi you have a priesthood. So Nyabinghi keep breathing third Sunday. So as a secretary, as a recording secretary, as an I-lect record, I have the responsibility to take the minutes, and at the next meeting, I read the minutes and make a summary. So really, there are secretarial duties, because I love to write, and I love secretarial work, I do that from school days. Within that framework now of administration, I find it a great pleasure, the recording secretary, because sometimes at meetings, many things are being spoken of at meetings, but there is no record of what is said, there's no documentation. And when you come to the next meeting, you keep going over the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I find that being a secretary, I find myself very useful. So at the minute, you got the high point so we can go to the next level. So a secretary out, it's really a decent job. Because remember also, when I say job, doesn't mean that you get paid. Because, we have them, it's a volunteer service, so it is good to hold up, but over the many, many years. Because the first time I went to Nyabinghi house, I went secretary, and I'm still secretary until this time. So I find that I have a good reputation of recording minutes, and I have a listening ear, and I can, as you speak, I can write. So I find that I have that talent. So, it's not hard for me to be a secretary. And I'm a good listener. So I find that my expertise and resources are needed in this time. And maybe because of my competence. But you see, everywhere you go, you must have people who are disciplined in the mind and people who can give reports. So the Nyabinghi structured, and I can say within that there are many records of minutes and so I can always go back and refresh the Nyabinghi house. Okay, that was said time and date, and we need to move to that level because we have already discussed that already. So it is good to be a recording secretary in the Nyabinghi house to make sure that we don't really repeat things that we have done already. We really improve on them. So I think that is good for me so far. And I will always be a secretary. I think, and also I would like to train one in Rastafari to do the same work, because sometimes you don't have documentation of it. We don't have an end in the office. So most of the documentation I have on my hard drive, I have on my files. So within every organization, the secretary is very important. So I choose that.
Yes, the I is like a griot of sorts then, because you keep the records of the history, and that's a very, very important role in African society, so we give thanks that the I is full in that position for the Nyabinghi order. And I would just like it if you could just let us know what you mentioned earlier, that some Rastafari have a feeling where they don't really welcome, say, like Europeans and things, other people of other, say, nationalities, which I don't think that's really the word, but, races, I don't really use these words, but for the sake of the conversation, people of other races, what is the Nyabinghi Theocracy's position towards people of other races identifying themselves as Rastafari and functioning as Rastafari?
Okay, give thanks. The Nyabinghi over the many years, Nyabinghi has changed over the many years. Early Nyabinghi, we step into Nyabinghi. When a person of a mixed race like your population or comes in, there's a lot of fire. Because they Nyabinghi determining who you are. So it's like you have to go through the fire. With the fire burn, you have to be purged. Because originally, the start was Nyabinghi is for black people, and Nyabinghi is black supremacy. That would come from Leonard Howell. That would come from Marcus Garvey. You see me? So from that historical thing coming down, Nyabinghi adopted a black power position that way. But when we read His Majesty's speech, and when we look on the heart of His Majesty, we think otherwise. So Nyabinghi is going through phases. You will have individuals Nyabinghi. When other ones come in who are not of African descent, it's a lot of fire. But it's really a verbal fire. But it will hit you. There's a test to see how strong you are. And that is why we see Word Down Power Collective they are also Nyabinghi. They keep Nyabinghi, they keep every celebration on the Nyabinghi, on the Rastafari calendar that Nyabinghi upheld. So time has changed for the better. But sometimes when there's a Bingi and somebody like a Caucasian come in, they don't allow them to participate. But then that has also changed because I see the Nyabinghi House of Healing from months ago, baby, before Nyabinghi. And then also run eyes right through. They chant right through. They chant in Spanish. They're welcome in the Nyabinghi House. Originally, it was like that, but over the many years, changing slowly, So I think the mistrust has slowly become into trust, which is a good sign of development within the Nyabinghi House. So, so maybe if that could bring some clarity, and there's a joy to say over the many years now, Nyabinghi. As far as I am concerned, I have a broader outlook on who is Rastafari, because His Majesty, no one can deny anyone of their faith. His Majesty travels the world. His Majesty go to all nations, but so any other race want to be Rastafari, who is I deny them of their right, Majesty, on their rights, His Majesty. Nothing look into that. Not saying that the Nyabinghi is soft, but the Nyabinghi is looking at things much different. Many ones with it, and I give thanks for that.
Yes, I give thanks for that clarity, and I would just like to ask for you to give me your personal. I mean, I think you hinted towards it a little bit earlier when you mentioned the effectiveness of the Word Sound Power Collective and working together with ones of different, ethnic backgrounds and things. But I would just like to know from the I personally, as an elder in the tribe and one who has proven himself, through works to be worthy to speak. What is your position? What do you think is a healthy relationship between African, you could say for Black people in general, or Rastafari within the Rastafari movement? What is a healthy relationship between Africans and say non-Africans?
Okay, give thanks. That's very good. Using Word Sound Power Collective as a template then, so to speak. Word Sound Power Collective. I am the African in Word Sound Power Collective. Administration, 100%. That's what I mean. But Word Sound Power Collective is Nyabinghi. So within that framework, the non-African, the Caucasians, then they are Rastafari. And Rastafari is non-partial and non-discriminatory. But Rastafari should not discriminate, and those are the words from His Majesty. He does not support discrimination neither, so why should we? Well, we are children of His Majesty, Emperor I-lect of Records, the Divine One. We follow His footsteps, and from that, we take a key from that. So therefore, within the framework of things, the Caucasians are non-African who are Rastafari. Since they identify the needs of Rastafari and they are willing to make a difference, they should be allowed to pool resources, whether technical, financial, or administrative support them and give it freely without charge. So orders are welcome, whether it is cash or kind, or just reasoning, or helping develop a concept, or helping write a proposal, or some technical things. Because what we realize over the many years, Rastafari has been traumatized and been discriminated against. So if Rastafari in different realms was not of African blood, but even so, globally we see that everyone of African blood come from along the way. So we can look on foot color and say that there's no Black blood in you. When you identify yourself, the Rastafari, and the African blood within you, you should be entitled to make a contribution and be not discriminated against. On that ground, for my child, to different places, chat to Italy, chat to Spain, chat to USA, to Nyabinghi, and I realized that wherever I go, among Caucasians are welcome and are willing to listen to who Rastafari is. I don't see any discrimination, I don't see bad blood, so I can speak from personal experience, and it's that I share with Nyabinghi and who I meet. So it's not good to have a broad brush and paint everyone as the same. We know that in every races we have problems and people say different things and people have different bad behavior. I remember one time a particular intellect came into the Nyabinghi house. Not of African blood. He was asked to swear to his majesty to demonstrate how on what grounds he decided to serve majesty. And when he stood up and chant the Psalms and chant whatever is required of him as Rastafari, everybody say give thanks. We pass the test. Mm-hmm. So differently, once I've been tested from time to time on the backgrounds, but I would openly say, I see this done for my travels, I see my feelings, I see a good relationship with a multi-ethnic group in this time. So, that is also good, and that is something to be welcomed. Because presently, out of the Nyabinghi and Rastafari general, we want with expertise outside to strengthen Nyabinghi order, to understand Rastafari in general. And we cannot deny them of their faith, and we cannot deny them of their contribution, because they are of a different ethnic group. So openly, I would say, let them be free up the thing.
Same.
You can challenge ones and what they are, although we know they are wearing sheep clothing, we are aware of that too. We are not stupid. But the Rastafari will always test you. So if you can pass the test and you are genuine, it's good. I think that applies to every group, You normally have to do a screening to see who you are. And from your screen, it's fine. You should not be discriminated against. Give thanks.
Yes, I give thanks for that reasoning. And, just for clarity's sake, because, I've seen and been a part of a lot of these conversations on this topic, and it's still no conclusion, no consensus amongst Rastafari as to which way we should go, and we really need to define it. But I would like to also hear your position when it comes to repatriation now. I have seen, like on different documentaries, that there are, say, non-African Rastafari who have repatriated, where, I don't know if that's the proper term, but have moved to, say, Ethiopia as in the name of Rastafari. How do you feel about that? Is that a right movement?
The Nyabinghi or Rastafari general has declared repatriation is a must, backed by reparations. Over the many years, we have not seen that. We have seen more migration. And we learned that repatriation is a country to country. Rastafari has declared, that those who had created slavery must recompense those who suffered. Our ancestors are no longer here, but our children of the ancestors who came here. So in that light, we qualify. But this repatriation is also political. But one would prefer now, one should also say they repatriate mentally. Many want to say that, they repatriate mentally. So they leave Africa wherever they are. And in Jamaica, there's a talk that Rastafari is being rehabilitated. You make Jamaica Africa. Why you want to go to Africa? Why not make Jamaica Africa? You just like similar to Africa, because Jamaica is similar to Ghana. So repatriation is on the front burner, same way, but there's no clear policy documented. even the fact finding done coming out of Jamaica, with Alvaranga and Martin Plan and those ones, there was no follow-up on the 1961 mission to Africa. And I see that within Rastafari, many ones, repatriation is more a talk. And repatriation is changing to migration. Those who have the money, go. Because Africa always its creators. When you cannot go to Africa empty-handed, you cannot come and learn. We see a dog who was such a money, and we see Bongo Rocky there, and Bongo Rocky was crying for one to come down and support him. But the Nyabinghi house did was to send money to Bongo Rocky, but they did not go. We give Bongo Rocky a food up. And Bongo Rocky was not repatriated. We said Bongo Rocky migrated. And we learned that Bongo Rocky, the Ethiopians tolerated him because overstay this time, they did not, ask him to leave. So repatriation have to be a government to government. We have to, that for Ghana, you can easily go Ghana now without easily then without the heavy screening, Ghana welcome people and flora. Remember, there's a 6th region of Africa where you call it diaspora.
Yes, sir.
And ones could easily go to African countries. So the mindset of repatriation is still there. All of the part of your repatriation is still the reason. How many people, we have to do a survey now to find out how many Rastafari globally want to be repatriated, or they just serve you. I want to go Africa repatriation almost. And when you go closely and do the data, they are satisfied with where they are. But what I'm saying, where are they going to live? Are they going to have the same amenities that they have on their homeland? Are they going to have food security? Or are they going to, if there is not enough money to buy a pop, are they going to survive? Is there pipe water? Is there flush tile? Is there whatever is there? Because someone still look on Africa, so those things are not. It depends on where they are going. Not saying Africa don't have those things, but it depends on where we are going. You see, we realize when we look and see, with even Ethiopia, when the Oromo group rise up and then burn down everything, when people don't really want to go to Ethiopia, honestly, they are scared. You see, when you say you want to go to Africa and you can't smoke ganja, there's a ganja law there. I don't really want to take up and go to one place there when you find say, then they can't smoke. So the people have to come in, current data, and we have an agreement now with African countries for repatriation. Otherwise, it is migration. But should we replace repatriation with migration? That's another level of discussion. Should we not speak? Should we speak of repatriation as sentiment? But even migrate. Because what I see in Jamaica, the many ones who have been to Africa, prominent ones, they are still living in Jamaica. Why are they still living in Jamaica? They went to Africa and go to these places, and they are still in Jamaica. So we look at those things, what's really going on. Sentimentally, we want to go, yeah, but practically, how can we do it? How can you repatriate elders? 70 and 88 elders, they don't want to go nowhere. If they use Rastafari, they want to go. How will they be employed? How will they go around? Can they go to can they go to university? Can they go to school? All those things we have to learn about. You see? So you have to have, as his mother say, you have to have a pioneer group. Go down there. And then this thing can be said. The repatriation is still there. But there are a lot of questions to be answered still for us to make a clear decision. So, okay, we're going to pack up and leave Jamaica, go to Africa, God safely, housing, water, and everything, and jobs. But you cannot go into a man country that you're not in. How many Rastafari can manage farming? How many Rastafari can translate business to Africa? But you have to live the real world. It's not a dream world. Everything is there. It's another land you're going into, like a country restrictions and regulations. The idea about leaving, for repatriation, going to Zion. Sometimes it doesn't match when you go there. Because we see Jalai go there, ancient Jalai, he migrate. How will that time Jalai not dead? We don't know what killed Jalad. We see my brethren in Balawa end up in South Africa. And Balawa, he tried to fix a roof. And he drop off of the roof and end up dead. 3 days in bury him. So we're uncertainty about these things. So we'll have to have a serious formal repatriation. And all the documents are presented. How people will get work, how people will travel. If there's a pool of funds, in case you get sick, what's going to happen? So although it is sentimental, it has to be more than sentimental now for repatriation, to mobilize funds to go. That's how I feel about the matter.
True. Give thanks. And yeah, give thanks for that. And we'll move forward now to a modern day reality that I guess the and the Nyabinghi family is facing in Jamaica. As you know, you mentioned some of the ancients are moving on, transitioning and becoming ancestors, and the situation with the tabernacle grounds being closed off. It seems like this is a situation that Rastafari hasn't been faced with in this as of yet. So we all are concerned and we hope for the best for the Nyabinghi house, but do the I have any suggestions on how the Nyabinghi house can handle this dire situation, especially with the COVID crisis and all of this all at one time, is there any light, any hope or a plan to weather this storm?
Okay, give thanks. Regarding Nyabinghi properties, then, history shows that Pit 4 Nyabinghi ground is the first Nyabinghi center in Jamaica. Scots Pass came after. Other places did not really have a standing tabernacle. Then you have Profile has a Nyabinghi ground also. You have Umapaya and you have one at Malvern. The Scots Pass situation is legal. Property belongs to the Marley. It's legal. The Nyabinghi house missed the target when the 5 acres was given to them, and it should be surveyed. But the ancients are away, with them, and the one who came to survey the place was chased away, and he was not able to purchase that 5 acres. So the Marley family owned Scots Pass. Is Nyabinghi in a position to revisit the situation, resurvey the place, and pay the cost of the 5 acres of land which the tabernacle is on, the man quarters, daughters quarters, and everything is on? That is a situation of finance, or the Marley family donated 5 acres to Scots Pass and also decide to pay the taxes for it, or the government write it off as a heritage site. So there's no taxes going to it, because you can't own land, you have to pay taxes, But you say you live into a country and you abide by the laws of the country. We cannot be above board, so we are Rastafari, we have sons and daughters of I-lect, so we don't pay no taxes. So that's it. Now, COVID around is a very serious thing, and most of the ones in Nyabinghi are ancients. Give thanks. We have not learned of anybody who caught COVID in Jamaica. We still have to be careful how we gather for Nyabinghi, because we have to put restrictions on public gathering and churches and so. The thing is, if we run the risk, although I say at Pit 4, you have sanitation booths and so, hand washing stuff, you can't chant in a mask. It's not good, because we're breathing back in the same air. So how can we do? How will we, what method will we do? Because the bingy coming up. And I'm sure that the bingy will be held, because within the governance of Nyabinghi and with the agreement with government, you have a right for a Nyabinghi. We hope and pray that the measures are being upheld and no one get COVID, right? That's only and hope and pray that the Rastafari guide in those levels, because when someone coming from different places on the Nyabinghi ground, when the Nyabinghi ground have a housing situation and a gathering situation, and it's difficult to keep a 6-foot distance or a 3-foot distance. Because people go in the kitchen, people go to the bathroom. You have to have somebody permanent there sanitizing the bathroom and sanitizing the ground each time, because that's what is said. So it's a matter of having faith in Rastafari to prevent, to be merciful on that day that no one get it. Get me? So the agent in Rastafari is vulnerable to these diseases. We don't see no money from any source or any reggae fraternity or anyone donating funds for care, wherein you can get, like, also we say a stimulus, then one could get money into a pool, and those who are sent over, they don't have to really merge in the marketplace and so on the supermarkets to get food. We don't really see that Nyabinghi in Jamaica have a farm, so one could go and get, food on the ground, and they don't have to mix with people. Many things have to be in place. So within the framework, Pit 4 itself has the facilities then. So if even we say, okay, Rastafari can go by for a while until that is resolved, and let Pit 4 be the headquarters of the Nyabinghi, as it was before. Pit 4 has its own tabernacle, Pit 4 has its own male and female quarters, Pit 4 has its own kitchen, Pit 4 has its own ground, Pit 4 has its own space. So the mindset would be, send Pit 4, develop the Pit 4 lands into farming, putting the necessary resources into Pit 4 and refocus the levels of administration so Pit 4 can be up and running. Then Nyabinghi globally as a resource center, as a tabernacle grounds, another place where you can come and reason. So Pit 4 has that facilities. But it is good to know the situations, and when we look at it again, on the Nyabinghi grounds, as you say, are still budding and going. But what we want to say clearly, the Nyabinghi grounds is the church grounds, and it's just temporary for that purpose. The Nyabinghi have a business facility. It's just for the state one. So if we practice safe measures, we will make it through COVID on that gathering. But we also will recommend that other Rastafari who now even come to Nyabinghi protect themselves, because COVID-19 is not something you play with, whether you go on a Nyabinghi ground or not. Even if you're in your home or you're moving amongst people, it's something, this pandemic is not something that you can just shrug aside and say it's going to go away. Whatever precautions, we're at home or in public, we have to take care of ourselves. So I think we'll try all the precautions as we see, and we will do all the safety measures, and we also encourage ones to do the same. But I think for the Nyabinghi itself, we should more focus on the people Nyabinghi grounds and ensure that all the facilities are in place, because Scots Pass is a legal battle over Scots Pass. And I think as Rastafari, at this point in time, if you don't have money to purchase that land, and if you are not lobbying for the Scots Pass to become a heritage site, we should leave it and focus on what we have. Give thanks.
Yes, I give thanks. So, I give thanks. That's a good report, an optimistic report that I just shared. It seems like you have it under control, and that everybody's doing everything within their power to, make sure that everyone stays healthy, and it's not a devastating blow that the one campground was shut down temporarily or possibly permanently, and that the Nyabinghi continues to move forward. So give thanks for that. So I noticed that there's been conferences before, like to try and bring more unity about within the Rastafari movement, between the different mansions and organizations and things. I would just like to ask the what is your, are you satisfied with the level of unity that there is between the different mansions of Rastafari, the different groups? And if not, then what is it that you think could be done or not done to create a more unified Rastafari movement as it was, in the early days before the different groups started forming? And even is that necessary? Do we need more unity?
Okay, give thanks. The word sound is one the Rastafari for I and I all. In 12 tribe as a youth, growing up, my man is 12 tribe, growing up with 12 tribe and have the Jews book and all that but I was at school. So when I was too far and the lift to migrate to Shashamani at that time. But there was a saying that every man for himself and Rastafari for I and I all. And there is I was questioning why every man for himself and Rastafari for I and I all, isn't it? But we know that there are dimensions of Rastafari, and it's one I-lect Selassie. We don't want to behave like denominations and church and state and so. Therefore, within conference levels then, having read Rita 1983, 18 to 20 conference, there are categories of Rastafari unity or identity that we should really look at. There's spiritual, there's economic, there's health and education, there's administration, and there's fundraising. These are categories that apply to every mansion. Religion is personal and the state is for all. So how are we going to manage the state of Rastafari? We have the religious side of it already, I-lect side is divine. So how the statical side of Rastafari should be managed? How do we survive economically? How do we survive health and educationally? What administration is required out of the outside mansion? It was recommended that we should have Rastafari International Secretariat, which is seen as Rastafari Global Secretariat. That would incorporate Nyabinghi and the 12 tribe of Israel. We find that there's a reluctance now to have all mansion. Although we have, which is another thing too, as we mentioned, all man. We have the Rastafari Millennium Council, which is the all mansion of Rastafari. I was the first secretary. We tried to have the oneness of these mansions, wherein the Bobo Shanti, say boy, Tabatan and Bobo Hill, come down with the reason we have that. We had reason on 12 tribe headquarters, and there was a dispute that we cannot, from headquarters saying, so we cannot use that anymore for meetings. You see me? So the Nyabinghi is also willing in that thing. The Nyabinghi also is the most willing participant in any unified form of Rastafari togetherness. But when the Nyabinghi step out on a mansion and say, hey, where you going? We different from you, what you talking about? So we find that it has to be a unity of purpose. It has to be a unity around economic health survival. What we also know, there are church administrators. You have a church call. It's Theocracy reign out of the Nyabinghi. It's church call. Within the Baba Shanti is also church call. You have the salvation doctrine is there. You have in book and Bible with all of that around Chris Emmanuel, churchical and political mindset. Because it's both, Within the statical administration, now of Rastafari, we need a collective group who's willing to pull the resources. So Rastafari need now to separate church and state from state, or merge church and state in one, under one umbrella. Therefore, the churchical side is run by the priests priests. The administrative side will be run by Rastafari who are educationally trained, who are willing to share information, who are willing to step Nyabinghi or Rastafari further. But what happened within the state of that is that nobody gets paid for their services. Everything is volunteer work. All my work I do over the many years is volunteer work. No stipend, no allowances, no nothing. You come, you provide, you leave. Because we're Rastafari, so we choose what we do and we don't really, maybe we get a subsidy or something to be better. So to move forward, we'll have to look at how can we move administratively to get the results that we need. How can we set up an office like a main office so that you have paid Rastafari there? We have many Rastafari colleges and universities who want a job. How can we do fundraising for offices? So there's a unity or an entity which is the administration of the movement, but there's none political administration that can say, come back to the same word, every man for himself. Every man must find him food, look out him family, but every man can come on a ground and chant. Go to Bingy, go to Power Hill, and so and chant. But after the chanting, you're on your own. So we need to sit and resolve that for the unity that we use to move forward.
Yes, that's a very informative, encompassing perspective from someone who's been at the different conferences and seen some of the history of the movement. And, it's like we don't want to keep doing the same thing over. If we've already documented how we can make a unified approach, let us implement the things that maybe look at them and see if we need to maybe update them at all or whatever, but work with what we have and continue moving forward. So, Ras Flako, give thanks for that reasoning and all the information that you've shared thus far. Before we close, I just want to open the floor to the eye to just, if there's anything. I know you have Wisemind Publications and your other organizations and businesses and things like that. If you could just, give the listeners a word sound as to how they can find, say, the books or anything that the eye is promoting or involved in that can be helpful to one on their journey.
Okay, give thanks. But there's another thing of my concern before I go to that.
Okay.
Is the Nyabinghi Creed. The Nyabinghi Creed says, let the infant cared for, let the naked, let the hungry be fed, and let the nourished. How can we achieve all those without a pool of funds? It is not just to speak of it, it is not just to chant, not just to write it. There have to be a pool of funds to provide care. The Nyabinghi Creed does not restrict themselves to Nyabinghi. It's for all Rastafari. We have to see how best we can put this, because the calling card, that Nyabinghi put out is the creed. And the creed is across the board to all Rastafari who chant I-lect Selassie. I don't know who I-lect Selassie is. So it's a caring thing. So I would also say it is good for any conference to be held. We look closely on the Nyabinghi Creed and see how best the creed can be fulfilled without just talking the creed or chanting the creed as a ritual. Concerning Wisemind Publication, I think if you go to Wisemind Publication, you'll see the site, and that is there also. And the books are also there, and they are available for not exorbitant cash. The Wisemind site is the books are downloadable. You can download it. Then we are trying now to have physical books now. Brethren, close brethren here, he just acquired a printer. So in case that you want to order a physical book, that could be available, because most people don't want to have an e-book. They want to have something like a hard copy. We have stepped up into that. We have the first child book on Wisemind Publication too, for children who want to learn about Rastafari. There's a children book there. What we want to do, take things to a different level, we want to have Wisemind Publication audio books. So if there are ones who can read fluently, to make audio books, ones who are willing, I could send a file, and you could, do an audio book, or we could add it onto the side also. So in case you're driving, you could listen to the voice of the ancients, while reading, because there are many audio books, so we want to go into that area also. So we are trying to expand Wisemind Publication, into hard copies, into audio books, into children books. You can realize that the use of Rastafari, or the families of Rastafari, need to have a book that their son and grandson can read up to about 10, 11-year-old. You don't want them to reach an adult to have Rastafari history. So Wisemind Publication is trying to broaden the scope. And if we could appeal to one who Wisemind Publication is global and is volunteer. Anyone who has graphic experience, anyone who can do proofreading, who could volunteer their service. So, okay, I can do graphics, I can do proofreading, I can contribute to the making of an audio book and things like that. So it's a global appeal, because Wisemind Publication is Rastafari Publication. That what is offered to Rastafari family to be a part of it. So it's an open invitation for those of the talents who have a base. That Wisemind Publication documents could be displayed. They could say, okay, yes, I have a bookshop, I have a site, I have a forum, that Wisemind Publications can be displayed, so one could have easy access to it. So, all is welcome, Rastafari families, sons and daughters, to acknowledge that Wisemind Publication is there and are invited to make contributions to Wisemind Publication. If you have an article about an ancient, if you have an article, we have the idea to put out a publication of Rastafari in business, where ones globally who Rastafari entrepreneurship, you see? So ones globally who are entrepreneurs who could write articles about Rastafari business, they could send it to rasflako@gmail.com, and we could make a book of it, and we could put it on the Wisemind Publication site. Wisemind Publication is about Rastafari in total, in all aspects of Rastafari, the young, the middle age, and the age, the patriarch and matriarch. So Wisemind Publication is a Rastafari collective to be a part of. Good thanks.
Yes, King. Give thanks. So to the listening audience, there's a way that you can contribute. We all, when we come into this, we have a duty as Rastafari to do something, to leave our mark and to make the world a better place, because His Majesty, all of his life was to make the world a better place, starting with Ethiopia, but everybody, collective security, So all who are listening, who have the ability to give a strength, there's, the door is open. And so we give thanks, Elder Ras Flako. One last question, and it can be a brief answer. The term bongo, like for an ancient elder, are there new bongo Rastafari in Congo, or
No. All right. In Montego Bay, right, there's a place by Railway Lane, the term bongo came up because of the locks. Locks is bongo, a man is bongo because of his locks. Mm. If your locks is thick, he's bongo. So I am bongo because I have thick locks. Bongo Isaac is bongo because he has thick locks, right? Mm-hmm. Bob Morrison ride natty red. That's the man with a fine locks. Go there, natty, go there. Go there, dready, go there. So he's a bongo, a natty, or a dready. So he's a man who just start growing locks.
Okay.
So the thing that we could get is a man who just start bud. So we'll say your locks are curly up, your locks are bud up. Your locks look like a tanja bud, just a come up. So it means he's dready, he just a come up with him little locks. The ancient one of thick locks means bongo. That was the first You know? They go, Rasta was rising, with the blacks are come up now and fine locks, means natty. Man, not up, natty bread. You understand?
Yes, sir.
It depends on the stage you are. So your locks is a description of who you are and how you look, your appearance.
Same.
So imagine every locks, most likely is a bongo. But that was a term in the Coral Garden, the bongos and the dreads. It was from the Coral Garden time to describe the kind of Rastafari you should imagine in your mind. He was a bongo man. That's why Jamaican say this song, Bongo Man a Come.
Mm-hmm.
It means a Rasta man with thick locks is a bongo man, thick heavy locks. Just like how ancient Aya in Rockers. You look at Aya, in Rockers, Ashley Iron,
yes, sir.
He was a bongo man, thick locks, heavy. You see me?
Yes, sir.
So that's the description of how your locks grow, whether it's a bongo, it's a natty, it's a jelly.
Oh.
You know, so no matter what term, that when it is used, you can have a picture of who the person is before you even see the person.
Seeing, give thanks. So the I is Bongo Flako then still.
Yes.
Yes. It was a question more so of, is this a term of like a merit thing, like a term of respect to like an elder who has accomplished things, or so give thanks for that clearance.
That is also because you say a Bongo Isaac. Remember in the early days, all right, Bob Roy was known as Roy Man. Early days, you are man with the name. See me?
Mm-hmm.
Roy Man and Peaky Man and Michael Man. So in the early days, a man, the name man was attached to your name. So if I was in the early days, I would be named Flako Man. And then I would name Daniel Man. But that has changed. The description of the one is changed over time. So there are many ones go by the same name, Roy Man, Bongo, Michael Man. Those are the most ancients we know. The Bongo now is like what you call now recognition then of the anciency or the time or the what you call a status then in Rastafari. The man really the state of a bongo, so he's a bongo man. It's called like a Bongo Isaac. So we wouldn't call Bongo Isaac Ras Isaac. Although it's Rastafari, it's a Bongo Isaac, knowing that his status is recognized by the term bongo.
Yes, give thanks. So yes, I think you're deserving of the title. As the time progresses and the I works speak for themselves. So again, give thanks. It's an honor as usual to talk with the I and to be able to, sit at the feet of the ancients, the elders, and learn this trod directly from the lion's mouth, and we give thanks for the technology that even ones in different parts of the world can sit at the feet of the elders without traveling physically, due to the expense and the inconvenience at times to be able to do that. We would love to be able to come to Jamaica still, but, in the meantime, we give thanks for this ability and this opportunity. So Ras Flako, give thanks for sharing the I Wise Mind, and we look forward to when we can reason again.
Yes, more love, respect, and take care of yourself and family. Yeah, Rastafari.
Blessed love.
Aye.